decided to become an entrepreneur. It's a choice I made by myself.
Into your personal journey, would you like to share with us the problems or the challenges? Greetings, dreamers. Welcome to yet another episode of Founder's Dream, a show where we unveil the inspiring journeys of visionary entrepreneurs. And I'm your host, Hope, and today we have a remarkable guest, Mr. Brian from Rent Better. Let's dive in. Mr. Brian, welcome to Founder's Dream.
Thank you, Hope. Thanks for having me. And thank you, CBMTV, for giving me the time. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So who is this Brian? Who is the Brian that is sounding everywhere, and why?
I didn't know I'm sounding everywhere. But yeah, Brian, my full name is Tweheyo Brian. And I decided to become an entrepreneur. It's a choice I made by myself that annoyed some people, but I decided early on, during university days, that I want to be an entrepreneur. And I chose never to do a job since then, until maybe a few years back when I decided to try it out and see how the job world will be. But 2 years in, also I realized that that's not my world. So Brian is an entrepreneur. He's a very ambitious guy who is passionate about finding solutions that can make people's lives better. Passionate about finding solutions for our everyday problems, how we can live an easier, better life. Yeah.
So, can we dip deeper into your personal journey? Would you like to share with us the problems or the challenges that you faced to become what you are right now?
Yeah, so I will go straight to because my journey is long, so I will go to the ones that lead to what I'm doing today in the renting space. And I will share the challenges that I faced in my life that are towards mainly on renting, because for me, my renting journey has been a very crazy one. I don't know if a lot of people, I don't think many people have faced what I've faced. So I'll give you a few stories, 4 stories. Let me start with the first one. So around 2009, while I was almost finishing university, I decided to go and rent a house. I went and got a broker. Now, these signposts on the roads that says broker for houses, what? So I got one. The guy took me to a house, and I loved that house. The house was really beautiful, very nice in Chevando there. And even the price was in my range. I had that money. I had just started doing some businesses, and I had some kalito money. So the broker says we go and see the landlord, and we get on a border and go to Kasangati. What pains me is even it was dusty. The road was dusty the whole distance. It was a long journey on a border. We reach there and we meet a very good-looking guy, very serious guy in a restaurant setup, and everyone there was calling him Afande. So there was no way I could doubt that this is not the landlord. The guy had receipts, had everything, and I paid my 900K, gave me the receipts. And then the next day I was supposed to move in. Then before I moved in, I was like, let me first go there, do some cleaning and all that, and then I can come and bring my things. So the first thing that was funny, because the next day I was supposed to meet with the landlord there, and then they gave me the keys. Calling the number of the landlord, the number is not on. I called the broker's number is not on. I went to the house and asked the neighbors, I'm like, does anyone have another number of the landlord or anywhere I can access this house? I paid for it, I want to enter. And everyone is telling me, but this house belongs to a Muzungu.
Really?
The neighbors are telling me, this house belongs to a Muzungu. I'm telling them I met a Fande, who and who. This house does not belong to a Fande. We pay for to a Muzungu lady who stays in such and such a place. And that's when it shocked me that I had paid to the wrong people. But funny enough, that day we went to the houses, seems people there knew the broker. He would greet them and they would respond as if they were, you know. And that thing shook me back. I had to end up going to live with my sister, sleeping in her living room for some like 3 years, because now, as when you're starting up, my little money that I thought I would put in the rental went like that. So for some time, I had to live with my sister, and that was my biggest shock in renting. Later, I learned that actually some people face that thing even up today, like brokers taking you to the wrong landlords and, you know, losing your money like that. The second story was from, so like a few years later, I now go and rent. I get another house, so I go in Nigeria and I'm renting a house. Now, the day I went there, the house they took me to, there was some other guy who had paid like 3 months in advance, but he wanted to leave. So I called the landlord, and actually that guy calls the landlord agrees. He actually even comes there. He's like, it's okay, you pay the guy his money, and then for us, you shall pay me a few months after. I pay, and we clear, I enter the house. So like 1 month later, the landlord comes, he's like, you man, I need some money. But boss, I paid 3 months ahead. We still have 2 months to go. This guy is like, I want money now. These are my houses. These are not your houses. You can't choose when you want to pay.
I'm the boss.
Hey, I'm the boss. Yeah? The harassment that was there, the guy shouted on the top of his voice. And he was a very respectable man. But the way he shouted over money for rent for that season, I had to find a way to find some money and give the guy. Because it was embarrassing. Like everyone had to come out of their houses. Like, what's going on? You know, this is not your mother's house. Funny, very, very weird things. So I paid. Now, that showed me like landlords are under pressure for money, quick money here. I need money today. When there's an emergency, he wants to go there and get the money there. The third incident was also with the landlord. Now, this landlord, for her challenge was that she needed her money on the first of the month, regardless. And it didn't matter that we've been together for 3 years. I've been paying my rent very well for 3 years. If it happens that you reach the second of the month before you pay, that's fire. The woman would call me, and she was a Muchiga, I'm a Muchiga, so she was a fellow Muchiga. I will say the words in Muchiga. She'd be like, "Iwe mwana what innocent and yanje jiruke mweri zoba." I mean, literally meaning like, if you don't have my money, leave my house today. But I've been in this house for how long? Just 1 day, and now you're saying I don't have money, I should leave the house. So there's that kind of stretch that was there between me, the tenant, and the landlord. The relationship was always like a bit off. Yeah, there was never a good relationship. But then you imagine it's housing, you need to be having somewhere to stay, and it's good to be having somewhere to stay and have some peace of mind, you know. So all those experiences kept forcing me saying, but there must be a solution in this whole renting process, something that can be make the lives of the tenant better, but at the same time make the lives of the landlord better. And that's how that led me to this now, to Rent Better, starting Rent Better. So the whole reason for Rent Better is make sure that that journey is a smooth one for everyone.
That's an incredible journey, Mr. Brian. So, Mr. Brian, you know education is a powerful force.
Yes.
Would you like to share with us your education background and how your education background influenced your path towards what you are today? Yeah,
sure. So I started, I think I'll not go into high school and that I'll go with university.
University.
University I was admitted on Bachelor of Architecture. And I did architecture for a few years, but then I decided to switch and go into quantity surveying. So I'm a trained quantity surveyor. And generally, quantity surveyors will help people, you know, with measurements and bills of quantities of different buildings and all that. So we are into the construction industry. So a few years after that, I started a construction company because that's my background, given that I was in the construction industry, seeing work that is related to construction. So I started a construction company, which mainly our clients are more of private people who are building residentials, building apartments, building rentals, commercial malls and what. So that also led me to this because I've interacted with a lot of landlords who we've built for. I've interacted with some of the tenants that they have on site as we finish building for them. So yeah, that's my education experience also has led me to where I am today in different areas. Yeah.
It's amazing how life experiences can fuel innovation.
Yeah.
So now, transitioning to the professional world.
Yeah.
How did your early job contribute to your entrepreneurial mind?
So like I said, I didn't have a job early on. I was more into business. By choice, I decided not to take on a job early on. But almost every business that I've done or that I've been part of has led me to another. Like it has been a transition from one step to another. I've done businesses that are in the IT space. Like I told you already, I've done a construction company. I've had a construction company. I've done businesses in the marketing space. So altogether, I've found that I have skill sets that I didn't even go to school. Some people find me and they say, you don't have any IT schooling, because I know a lot about IT. I've done a lot of businesses within the IT sector. I've done businesses in the blockchain space. I've done businesses in different aspects. So over the years, that experience bonded together leads me to easily create something, especially in the technology space, and know how to market it and know which people to target and how best to present the idea to different stakeholders.
So Mr. Brian, before you becoming the entrepreneur that you are today, like we really want to know how your roots started, how you like from home to what you are right now, from the root, from the background.
From childhood?
From childhood, yes.
I was born from Tungamo, but raised in Kabale. So I'm in Chigamunyankole, like that. And I had most of my education from the West, from Western schools, from primary until my A-levels. And then I would say maybe the stubbornness for entrepreneurship or choosing entrepreneurship could be from the stubbornness from being a child. Also, I was brilliant in class, in school, but also stubborn. Yeah. Like in O-level, I was chased in like 3 schools for being stubborn. So I think that also adds up to the entrepreneurship. Yeah, unlike most Kampala kids, I came to Kampala going to university. And basically that is it. That is like the background. Okay. Yeah.
Now let's talk about rent better. What were the initial challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them during that moment of starting up with the rent better?
So Red Better is still a baby, still young. So the challenges are still coming up. So I can't say I can't really put the word overcome yet. So it's still a journey. We're still going through it. But I think early on, the biggest challenge was on the development. Because like I said, I'm a construction guy, I'm a marketing guy, I'm not a developer. So the biggest challenge was getting a reliable person to partner with, a developer that can help bring this vision, this idea to life. And good enough, managed to get a friend who we partnered together and started. He's a developer, so we are co-founders in the company. So at least I know that now I have a partner who handles that challenge. Other challenges I don't even think are worth mentioning, given that we are still really going through them. Challenges of marketing, challenges of money to do the things you want to do. I mean, up to today we are still looking for that money. Up to today we are still marketing and going to the landlords and different stakeholders. So for really, given that we are just beginning, the challenges are just now. We are in it. Yeah.
Mr. Brian, your story is inspiring. What words would you like to share with people out there that are facing challenges in pursuing their dreams or their careers? So, Mr. Brian, before we go further, let's rewind back a bit. So, what is really rent better, or once we hear rent better into our ears, what should we see or what should we hear?
Yes. So Rent Better is a mobile application which is intended to make renting easy for both the landlord and the tenant. So I'll also make it a story. Sorry for being.
No, it's okay.
So the thing is, the journey for renting for both the landlord and tenant is usually a very uncomfortable one. Find the landlord is chasing the tenant to pay rent on time, while the tenant on the other side is also maybe having their own struggles to pay rent. So you'll find most landlords and tenants, they are never on the same page, right?
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that that is solved. One way of how we identified that was looking at the nature of our people in Uganda. We realized that we are largely an informal economy, whereby most of us earn money on like daily,
yes.
or on a weekly. And even those who are like employed, you find they have a lot of money coming in from deals, from gigs, not forgetting corruption and whatever is happening. So there's a lot of money that is coming daily. But at the same time, you find people struggling to pay at the end of the month. So someone has had money throughout the month. If they look back, they can count a lot of money has passed through my hands. But when time for paying rent comes, you find the people crying. Yeah. So what we want to do is avoid all that and make it easy for someone to pay rent in manageable micro installments. So let's say today you did something and you earned your 50K. You can get 15K or 20K and pay it
you deposit.
Exactly, towards your rent. If you really, with discipline, pay that 20K every single day, and your rent is like 600K, your month is going to end and you've paid rent and you've not even felt it. Yeah? For most people, you'll find that that 10K or 5K that he would have paid towards rent, he has spent it in something that they can't even track back and know what they did. So we want to make it easier to make sure that rent is not a stress anymore. Most landlords cannot allow you to go to them and say, landlord, today I have 50K, you get it. Yet your rent is like 500K. They will not allow you to go and say, today I have 5K, let me give it to you, and then we see how to sort ourselves. Most landlords, even those who allow it, are not comfortable with it because that money is almost like useless to them. So we want to make sure that now for you, the tenant, you have that freedom, that comfort to pay rent in manageable, convenient installments.
In installments.
Exactly. That way we know that you'll easily not stress. Now, on the landlord side, most landlords, again, you find he or she has their property, but they never receive money in one lump sum. Someone can have a property that is worth maybe 10 million per month. like they're supposed to be receiving rent of 10 million per month, but in their lifetime, they've never received that 10 million at once, right?
Yeah.
They have someone who is paying on 5th, another one on 3rd, another one on 15th, another one on 20th. So they're always receiving 500K here, 600K here, 700K here. At the end of the day, you find that even the landlords themselves are not benefiting from their investments that much. Because the moment they receive that 200K, it goes into fuel and it's done. They receive the 500K from another one, it goes into something else, an emergency, and it's done. So they never plan for their money very well. So the return on investment is not enjoyed. They don't enjoy their properties. They don't enjoy their rental properties. So we want to make it a point that the landlord himself or herself also enjoys their investment. Yeah. So what we do is we make sure that these people are paying very well, and then now for the landlord, we agree on a day of the month, and then we give you your money in a lump sum. So that now you can budget for it, you can plan for it, you can do something good with it. And as relationships grow with both the landlords and tenants, we want to develop credit lines whereby we can even advance money to the landlord. We can give rent top-ups to the tenants, and basically make the whole finance issue around rent solved. So in that long story, that is how Rent Better is. Now, we have different relationships. We can work with landlords directly, whereby we sign a contract with them and we are the sole collection agents for them, for their property. And then for the tenants, they can download our application, which is on the Google Play Store and the App Store, and then they can create their accounts, create the schedules, and then they start paying rent even today. Yeah.
Wow. So as you say that with the tenants pay installments.
Yes.
So are these houses structured in one area or it's all over?
As long as the house is in Uganda, it can be on Rent Better. So as long as you're within Uganda, you can use Rent Better services. Either as a tenant, even if your landlord is not with us, or as a landlord, you can use Rent Better anywhere in Uganda. And you see, remember my story of getting duped by a broker going to a wrong. Yeah, now Rent Better is going to make that. When you're using Rent Better, you shouldn't face that, because now these landlords that we have on board, whenever a unit goes vacant, it is automatically listed on the Rent Better application. So even when you're looking for a house to rent, you can use Rent Better. Remember, now we already have verified landlords. You're not going to be taken to a landlord that you don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, this is already a verified landlord. They already have a property with us. So now you're getting to a house that is for someone that is already trusted and verified. So we are solving a lot of solutions in one.
And we appreciate. So, Mr. Brian, you know, a lot of people outside there are entrepreneurs and they love entrepreneurship so much, but they don't know where to start from, and they don't know how they are going to overcome the challenges.
Yeah.
So, what advice or what words would you push to them so that they can pursue their careers or their dreams?
Yeah. So, I have been doing businesses in one way or the other for so many years now. I think now almost like 16 years. And I can say it never gets easy. If you're looking for an easy life, if you're looking for chilling life, don't go for entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is hard. Like, no one is there to give you money. If you're in a job, at the end of the month, someone is going to pay your salary. Some people, even if you've not worked hard, you're going to get your salary. But when you're in business, when you're an entrepreneur, you're the one to really hustle it out. But I can also say that the results or the benefits are much more than the other side. Because, like I said, I've also gone into employment, so I know both worlds. So I can say entrepreneurship is enjoyable if you make up your mind and say, this is what I want to do. So I think the biggest thing that can help you overcome any challenge is the mindset, the choices that you make. Don't go into it as if you're forced. Make that decision and know that this is what I want to do. Understand that the challenges are going to be there, but everywhere there are challenges. Even in jobs, even in work, there are challenges. And know the ones that you're going to fight for, the challenges that you're going to fight for. And if you ask me as a person who chose to be an entrepreneur, I would say it's a good choice. If you choose and say you want to be an entrepreneur, just make up your mind and start. And start. Don't start making excuses. No money, no what. Because there are so many ideas you can start without money. And especially in this new world that we are in. There are so many ways how you can start without money, and then find a way of how to get that the needs or the resources that are needed as you go along. Because when you keep thinking about the how, you're just going to put roadblocks along the way. You're going to give yourself reasons and excuses not to start. So start, make up your mind. No, it's going to be hard, but it's worth it in the long run. Yeah.
So, Mr. Brian, we appreciate you sharing your journey with us, the problems you have faced, the challenges, and your deep education background. We do really appreciate it. It's really inspiring to us, to me, to the world, to the youth outside there, also to our fellow entrepreneurs. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Hope. Yeah.
That concludes another episode of Founder's Dream. A heartfelt thank you to Mr. Brian for sharing his journey with us and to share his deep background of Rent Better. Keep watching Founder's Dream, keep dreaming big, and don't forget to catch our next episode of Founder's Dream. Don't forget to dream big. Founder's Dream, CBMTV, all around, everywhere, catch the moments.